Welcome to the Checkered Shorts Podcast, a podcast of three fraternity brothers reconnected by their love of IndyCar. Join us for grid-rival IndyCar fantasy talk, predictions for upcoming races, and reactions to race day results and all things IndyCar. Let's go racing! Hey, welcome back. How you doing? We're back.
Howdy.
Another episode 18. What driver do we have that sports number 18 that's notable?
1-8. Well, obviously, it's kind of timely with the performance last week at Barber, but you got to shout out to Rinus VeeKay driving that 18 car for Dale Coyne and the 70 other drivers that have been in the 18 for the last 10 years. But then I think we go back to Sebastian Bourdais was probably the last big, really good driver in the 18 when he raced for Dale. Had a lot of good years in that Sealmaster car, if you remember that livery. But historically, this is a little tidbit I didn't know until doing some research on this, that the Indianapolis 500 has never been won by the car number 18. It's one of the few numbers out there in history that has not yet won. Some of the bigger numbers haven't won, but you would expect like a number like 18 would have found its way to victory lane at some point, but it hasn't. The closest to that was in 1951, a guy by the name of Duke Nayland. He got on the pole of the Indianapolis 500. That's the best we have is Duke Nayland, 1951 Indianapolis 500 pole winner. So
nice job, history boy. Yeah. I like it a lot.
Well, Wikipedia.
Speaking of some,
go ahead, Pat.
Well, speaking of Sebastian Bourdais, I believe just a little tidbit about that. I think it was in 2006 he won the first 4 races in kart. So this whole Pelot dominating at the beginning of the season, there has been history of this before. So Bourdais is going to keep saying Sebastian, but Bourdais was on the dominant track early as well, I believe in 2006. So it's some history there.
Let me ask you a question, Pat. Name 3 other drivers that were in that series at that time.
That's a good question. Was Tracy still in kart?
Paul Tracy would have been the second best driver in that series at the time. One IndyCar driver was a rookie that year, I believe.
Will Power,
yep.
KV Racing, was that KV Racing back then?
I think whatever the Australian.
I'm going to go like
yellow car, I believe.
Yeah, KV. I'm going to go like a Scott Pruitt. Was he back in then? I don't know.
I can give you 3 other drivers. I know those 2. That's all I know.
All right, that's pretty good then. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you pulled it out there pretty well.
I'll take it. All right.
Yeah, so something noteworthy. Tuning into some other podcasts during this week, leading up. Mention of the Checkered Shorts
that's right,
on some pretty big podcasts. So, we pretty well named our podcast based off the fact that we love to go to races in the dead of summer and throw on our checkered shorts and walk about and make complete fools of ourselves. And turn a lot of heads. Maybe not so much in Speedway, Indiana, but, if you're out in Iowa running around town in some checkered shorts, people tend to notice. And so that's kind of where we came up with our podcast name based off of our favorite attire for the race and the fact that we're trying to make a short form podcast. But checkered shorts was a topic of conversation on one of the premier IndyCar podcasts, wasn't it?
It was on Hinch and Rossi's Off Track with Hinch and Rossi. Their guest today on this morning's episode, which I think they recorded yesterday, was Joey Molinaro. And Joey was talking about that when May comes, he gets so excited. He gets his checkered shorts and gets ready because that's what he wears to the track is his checkered shorts. And so just thanks to the Off Track guys for a little shout out to our podcast. We appreciate them. So and we get a lot of good information from you guys. Better throw Tim Durham in there too. Old Thim. Gives us some good info too. But thanks to those guys for the shout out today. Appreciate it.
Yep, nice plug. Appreciate it. Very good.
Hey, he sounds like a guy that I could hang out with. checkered shorts and
Oh no, he
some millies at the track?
100% is. He is one of us through and through. Yeah, he would be a good time to hang out with.
Even sits in our section, Keith. So we're gonna see if we can find you out there this year, Joey.
Oh, we are definitely going to go live from the track with a little Joey action.
His mom,
at least a selfie.
I think his mom or stepmom, or not stepmom, mother-in-law, like cooks biscuits and gravy at the track that morning. Like, come on, let's go.
Come on, Joey, invite us over. We're within walking distance. We'll be there.
We'll come. So, big week. Indy GP coming up, right?
That's right.
The Indy Sonsio Grand Prix.
It's May. It's May. We got to get cars on the track at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So
it's something very, very exciting for especially those people that grew up cheering for their home state team. And one thing I love is that the Pacers are the Indiana Pacers, not the Indianapolis Pacers.
I agree.
It's a statewide team, not just a city team like the Chicago Bulls or Memphis Grizzlies or some others.
Boom, baby.
And what a freaking couple of weeks of Pacers basketball. Only 3 times in the history of the NBA only 3 times with under 50 seconds or something has only been 7 or more points behind and come back to win it. And 2 of those happened in the last 7 days.
Yep.
Pretty nuts, man. I am a huge Pacers fan. It all started back when Reggie, the Davis boys in the mid 90s, between the Pacers and it started with IMS, then it elaborated into IndyCar. It's 2 of like my biggest the parts of my heart. So when you get a almost buzzer beater from Tyrese last night, and then you have Pacers tomorrow for Friday. Or not tomorrow. So on Friday, Racers on Saturday, and then Pacers on Sunday. I mean, you can't beat that in Indianapolis right now.
It's going to be buzzing up there, isn't it?
No, it's going to be insane. I couldn't imagine how Gainbridge is going to be come Friday in that place. It's going to be bonkers.
Yeah, no, it was one of those situations too, where I think, unfortunately, many of us may not have got to experience it live because you're watching, and as you get into the course of that game, you're thinking, all right, we split. We're going to come home and see if we can hold home court. And then, my phone starts going off. I'm laying in bed, bring, bing, 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 bing. And I open up, and the next thing I'm doing, I'm watching the highlight, and I'm just as jazzed watching the highlight. I can imagine if you were committed to watching that game from start to finish, from tip-off to buzzer, man, that was a hell of a sequence there at the end. And as much as the Cavs obviously kind of choked it, you say they choked it away, but you have to take advantage of those opportunities to make something happen.
Yep.
And the Pacers did just that. That dunk by Nebhart on the putback from the free throw. Like, how do you get beat from blocking out a free throw twice in the same game?
Dinwiddie, I mean, you go. I got a lot to say about it, but
about the Pacer game. I was in disbelief when it got over. I didn't know what to think. I had to go back and watch, like you said, highlights to see how it ended. But being just an Indiana fan, just a big time of year here in May for us right now. Love it when the Pacers are in playoff contention this time of year. So.
Super fun. It's it's a good time to be in the city. That's for sure.
So we won't spend too much time talking basketball. This is a IndyCar podcast. So, but we had to sidetrack. That was too much excitement for to go ignored. Power rankings. We didn't get to those in the last episode in the post race. We still had a lot of things to sort out. Kind of. You got another race under your belt. You start looking back at the history of the races and where people finished. We got our power rankings put together for this episode, Brian.
Yeah, we'll count it back. I don't know if you guys are all right with that. We'll go 10 down to 1.
Love it.
I'm gonna throw a little twist in here. I got a 10.
Little David Letterman. You're gonna throw the card out. Number 10.
Bing!
Not Ray Holland Letterman.
Yeah, there aren't any Ray Hall Letterman drivers on this list. But at number 10, like I said, 10A and 10B, I think we all agreed that Alexander Rossi is kind of still hanging on to that, the bottom of that top 10. He had a good week, got off to a good start in the race. But I threw a little wild card in here because I think a guy that really showed again this weekend how talented he is Rinus VeeKay, and I thought that he deserved to jump up into that top 10. So I put him at 10B this week.
Well, you said there hasn't been an 18 winner yet.
This is the guy, right?
I don't know, man. He might be the dude to pull it off.
Yep. He's been on the front row for how many years in a row qualifying, and he's had solid, really good. He's a really good racer, and Dale will put a car. I mean, Ed Jones finished third for him 1 year in a 500, so they can get there, and I think Rinus can do that. Number 9, I was surprised at how I was expecting this guy to be a little higher on our rankings, but at number 9 we have Will Power. Obviously we had the lap 1 wreck at St. Pete, but he's had solid finishes the last 3 races. We've got him at number 9, and then edged out by the old man himself, by the other old man on the field, Scott Dixon, at number 8, and then guy that just keeps staying right in there is old Felix Rosenquist at number 7. So we got those 3. Those 3 were really close together in our rankings, but that's kind of how they fell out, was with Rosie getting the nod over the other 2.
I feel like Will Power would definitely be much further up the rankings if he had better weekends as a whole.
Yeah.
The race day, he goes out there and runs hard, and he's always making up positions, but he's also started way back multiple times. Kind of the same thing that happened with Dixon at Barber. When you're starting way back in the back of the lineup, what kind of ground can you make up when you're qualifying so poor?
Yeah. I mean, it stems from the St. Pete race. Even if he finishes that race, you got to give him top 15 probably if he actually finishes. He's 9th in the actual standings. If he doesn't crash out, he's probably a little bit higher. But he has shown some highlights. One race will do it to you. I think he's definitely running better than Joseph, but he's past couple races he's been right up there with Scotty Mack too. So.
Well, the sample size is 4, so if we were to say where we thought the power rankings would end up at the end of the year, I think I would put Will Power higher. But we got these 4 races to go off of, and that's our evidence. And right now, I mean, we kind of went back and forth, argued about 8, 9, 7, but this is where he's at. That's what he's earned, and go out and make some hay, and we'll move you up.
Well, and I think he will over the next 2 races. These are upcoming two places he's been pretty strong. So
contract year too. So he's got to do it. He's got to do it. So
at this point, it's contract or retirement home, right?
Yeah.
Tell him that.
Coming in at number 7, and we might get some flack on this one, is Colton Herta. I had him ranked a little higher than I think the 2 of you did. The reason I do is because, again, we talked about last time, the issues on pit road and the strategy, and then going back, we thought what happened on Sunday was self-inflicted. But if you go back and watch the replay, it was actually the right rear tire changer who needed him to get back in there so they could, tighten that lug nut. And so on track, that the skill, the driving part, if this is driver rankings, I think Colton deserves to be there. And so we've got him in there at number 6 right now.
Okay. I could buy that. There's a lot of, not as some of the history shows, his self-inflicted wounds that he's caused. I don't think this year is as much as that. At least we haven't seen it. Yeah. So that's probably fair. He's ranked 8th. He should have podiumed last week, probably. So it's get your shit together.
The question is whose nephew is changing the right rear tire? You know what I mean? Hey, at some point you got to pull the guy. You know what I mean? You got to go to the bench.
Yeah.
If the starters aren't performing, go to the bench.
That's right. Coming in at number 5 is Key Sky Pato Award. So we've got Mr. Award at number 5.
Celebrated a birthday yesterday. I saw that online. Just one day after, Mexican independence, Cinco de Mayo. So he was almost born on Independence Day.
That would have been, yeah. I bet you. I think he celebrated anyway on both days. I think
solid performances in every race this year.
Yeah.
He's really driven it well. He hasn't qualified, up to his standards, but he, again, like Power, but with the difference between Pato and Power is that Pato has gotten himself farther in the field and started closer to the front.
If it's not for Pelot running away with things, he still is consistent, can still be right there in the mix, would be in the championship. Let's see how these ovals go for these next few races. Iowa's a double weekend. If this is kind of going off track a little bit, but if Pelot doesn't have a good weekend, Pato's always right there. Pato's won at Iowa, double weekend. There could be a little mix-up, but off track a little bit, but yeah.
Sorry. Dropping a couple spots this week for us is Kyle Kirkwood. He comes in at number 4. He had the great race at Long Beach, but this last weekend, they were fast off the truck. They looked good. The race didn't go his way, and so falls down to number 4. And then number 3, Scotty Mack jumps back up to the number 3 spot. Solid performance this week, and once again, he's that guy that he's the one guy that keeps sticking in my mind as the guy that can go catch Pelot. If anybody can do it, I don't trust Lundgaard. And spoiler alert, that's our number 2 guy right now, but he doesn't have the oval expertise and experience, and just hasn't proven it. Whereas Scotty Mack has. Scotty, got some victories last year on ovals, and so as that part of the season comes up, McLaughlin seems to be the guy who's primed and ready to be that number 1 challenger, I think, at this point.
He's grown on me a bit. If he could just shut the hell up about the Knicks.
Yeah, that's true, man. Very true.
Come on, man. You got to know the history. You're living in the city. You can like him, but you got to be in the closet on that, man. Keep that sealed up. I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Where's Carly from? Is she a New Yorker?
I don't know. It's a good question. It is an odd, why he likes him. But I do think 1, 2, and 3 you can't argue with very much right now. Mm-hmm. But I do like your point about Scotty Mack, and that goes back to Iowa. He could have. Newgarden used to ring those things in one after the other. And we talked about how Scotty Mack, is he the new Newgarden? Is he getting the better equipment? He could easily win both Iowas, man. Mm-hmm. That's definitely been a Penske track. Pato's won there, but it's definitely been a Newgarden shoe in there for a while. At least not last year, but the past couple of years was. So could be. Somebody might pop Pelot's tire. Who knows? On purpose. You never know what's going to happen.
Did you hear the post race? One of the interviews, like a little Freudian slip, one of the racers referred to him as the one.
Oh.
Did you hear that? I think it may be Scott Dixon. But I listened to it back, and he corrected himself.
Interesting.
But I was like, that's kind of an interesting statement. Like, is he's the golden boy? Everyone's looking at him like that, or maybe there's going to build a little animosity, or is he getting putting all his chips into that car? And maybe there is a little bit of resentment.
We talked last time about personality, and nobody's got more personality in the series right now than Scotty Mack.
Yeah.
That's the guy that everybody seems to like him. Like, other than Devlin, but Devlin's not going to be around much longer anyway. So
he's just a relatable, approachable. Hey, I've said it before. Hey, mate, this is one of our guys. Wouldn't come up and shake your hand. Would come up and dap you. You know what I mean? More than anything, and would shoot the shit with you. Probably drink cold beer with you if he wasn't racing. That's what I like. He's just a very personable, approachable, one of just a guy's guy type of thing. That's why I like Scotty Beck.
Moving on our list, I think I mentioned it already, but Christian Lundgaard in that 2 spot. If you haven't gone back and watched that pass he made on McLaughlin to get to the 2nd spot about halfway through the race on Sunday, go look at that, because that, even Will Buxton, lost it as he was describing it, because that was an impressive move. He set him up, and a very veteran move for a guy that's been in the series for just a few years. And so he comes in at number 2 for us, and then surprise, surprise, surprise.
Hello.
Again this week with another victory. So 3 victories out of 4 races, finishing 2nd in the other race. I mean, he is just a man among boys right now in the series, and so he rounds out our power rankings for this week. So
I was listening to the Connor Daly podcast, and he gets every winner on there, and Pelot was talking like he doesn't even have any offers, any asks, any tests for F1. Not one, he said. I'm like, what? That's insane.
They're missing out. They really are.
I mean, at least test the guy. I know he's old as far as race car drivers go, or at least getting old, but holy smokes, he's like, no, nothing, man. Nothing. I was like, wow.
Craziness.
They're really crazy. But no, just dominating. Kevin Lee, everybody talked about it, and Kirk Cavan was like, no, it's good for the sport, it's bad for the sport, but he's like, you're watching history.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, there are people out there that come to watch this guy do it, and how smooth it is, and how effortless it is, it seems. So
I think we've got to appreciate it, right? I think last time we talked about, is this good or bad for the series, but we have to, as fans, appreciate how talented this guy is.
And I didn't think about it that way until Kurt actually said something. I was like, you're right. This is, we have seen this. I mentioned Bourdais. I think there was one other, like a Newgarden had a really dominant season. I mean, hell, in NASCAR, Jimmy Johnson used to win every other race, it seemed. So it has been done before, but this is pretty crazy to watch and to witness. So, and now you have the 500 coming up too. So that let's really see how good he is, because that is a test in itself.
Well, you're gonna say, you know what I say to that? BS. I don't like that. I want to think of him as a Tom Brady. I want a villain, Darth Vader, whatever you want to call him. I want to say, who's the villain of the series, and why not make it be the guy on top so everyone else can go hunting for him? To me, that's exciting. That's exciting.
Says the McLaren fan, so no wonder you feel that way about Alex Palou, right?
He did kind of backdoor deal him.
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves with the 500. And speaking of Palou, like, you got the Sonsio Grand Prix coming up at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, and that's a 2-time defending champion of the May race. We ran a few post-COVID in July and October, I think, even, but he is the 2-time defending May winner of this race. Alex is. So what are your thoughts on the Indy GP?
I like it. It fills the void. It does get May started a little bit sooner now. It has been kind of a runaway race in the past few years, especially when it does rain. It doesn't look like it's going to rain this year, but when it does rain, it gets a little bit more exciting and throws things more for a loop. This week is supposed to be like 80 and sunny. It's supposed to be a beautiful day out there on Saturday. Race time's at like 4:30. So perfect. But I think IndyCar, we'll see if they're trying some new things. You have to do 2 sets of primaries and 2 sets of alternates. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
So thought behind that is just to get some more action, I guess, to spice things up a little bit, to switch things up a little bit, and get some more strategies, I guess. Is it more strategy? Is it less strategy when you do this? I don't know. So I hope it's the right call.
I wonder if it's going to be a little bit like Long Beach. Guys are going to be coming off after lap 2 and saying, you know what, let's get through it. Let's burn through these real fast.
Yeah, I think they're only getting 4 total sets of red stripes for the weekend. They're getting 5 sets of primaries, I do believe. So you really have to, in qualifying, you're really gonna only need only get 1 set. But so we'll see how it plays out. Pelot did say, he's like, I think it's going to make it more boring as a race. I'm like, oh no. It has been kind of boring, but we'll see. IndyCar's making the call. Let's see what happens. Dinwiddie, what do you think about all of the tire changes? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that came to mind for me is the July of 23 race. Scott Dixon won that on, I believe it was a 2-stop strategy.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have 2 sets of blacks and 2 sets of reds now. That's going to force a 3-stop. And so I don't think in any way, I don't know. I don't know how many laps that race is and the length of it. I think it's going to force everybody into that 3-stop. You know, obviously it's going to be a 3-stop. I don't know if it's a 4-stop for a lot of guys or not. So does it take fuel mileage out by having that? You know, what I like about the track, you know, it is flat. It doesn't have the rolling hills that Barber has. It's a road course, like we've seen at Barber and Thermal, but it's more like Thermal in that it's flatter. Doesn't have the elevation changes. What it does have is it really has 2 distinct long straightaways. You know, if you think about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, that race is typically run counterclockwise. This one actually runs the other way. So they're running clockwise around the track, which means they're coming down that front straightaway out of, you know, what I call oval turn 1. They come out of that and go all the way down basically the entire front stretch before they dive into road course turn 1. And so they get some really good speed, and then you see a lot of braking, and we see some incidents down there, especially on the start of this race. You don't want to miss the first lap because, you know, 27 cars going into that turn can get really interesting. And then once they get through that, they come down the backside, and then that's Holman Drive or Holman, whatever we call that. That cuts the old airport runway that they bring down through the middle of the oval track, and then going into that turn, and you know, there's a large braking zone there. So 2 really good passing spots there. And then another one as they come out of oval 2 and dive in and do a little wiggle around there. So it's, you know, there's some passing opportunities, and hopefully this tire mix up allows for that difference that will allow for more of that to happen. I wonder too, with, you know, when you're on just 2 or 1 set of those tires that aren't favorable, you get off of those as soon as you can because you don't feel comfortable with them. Is forcing them to have 2 sets of each, is that going to make people a little more squirrely, going to make them a little more uncomfortable? Could we see more cautions because they're on tires they don't necessarily want to be on? And just the mix of, do they forget what tires they're out there? I mean,
right.
We've seen this kind of thing before.
No, it's going to be the strategies. I don't even know what kind of strategy. Like, they're not going to want to run one of the tires, whichever they deem is not the good tire. So they're going to want to run them and get off them. But you don't want to get off of them just to get off of them. You want to do it strategically to, you know what I mean? Because somebody else. No, I don't know. So
I feel like on most of these road courses, the alternates have been the favorable tire. But
yes,
I initially thought, and even mentioned earlier, like, are they going to get off these blacks right away after a short couple of laps? But I didn't realize what Pat had mentioned with being limited on your reds for the weekend. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have a situation like where Rinus had a whole extra set of reds from qualifying that any other driver had. Because if you've only got 5 sets, you're not going to have maybe but the 2 sets that you're able to utilize, period.
Right. And you got, I mean, if you make it to the fast 6, I mean, that's 2 sets of reds, obviously. Like, you don't want to get into your third.
Unless you've got a shot to go for the pole, right?
Yeah, but then you only have one. But then what happens? You only have one for the. I don't know.
Well, you got some scuffs then, right? You can use. So
yeah, I guess. Yeah, okay. So you still have tires. New tires. Okay. All right, that makes sense.
So Pat, if you were, I'd ask this to Keith, but I don't think Keith, I don't believe you've been to this race. If you were coming into town for this weekend, or if you were thinking about going to the track, Pat, you got the general admission, or you got the flex ticket, which allows you to sit in various places around the track. Where's your spot? Give me your top couple of spots of where you would sit.
Yeah, so this is cool because you can go just about anywhere. Any ticket will let you go kind of anywhere. If you buy a seat in turn 4, you can probably walk down to turn 1. Okay, sorry, turn 1. Yeah, I'm talking about the oval track. So that's how I have done it. Historically, I've sat in, what is that, turn 12 maybe at the end of it. So that's turn 1 on the oval. Really cool. I like turn 1/turn 4. The big first turn after the start finish line. That's where I like to sit just because of that start. And you can see him humming down the front stretch. But for stuff like this, it's not a packed race, obviously. You can sit on the front stretch on the pits on both sides too. I think that's exciting a little bit more. If you have a 5-6-year-old who doesn't like necessarily watching the whole race, you can intermingle down there, see the pit crews, see the pit action, holds their attention a little bit more. So, and those mounds held Dinwiddie and I forget what year that was when we saw Doug Bowles running around in the rain. Those mounds right across the suites outside turn or inside of turn 4 are fun too. So that's, all of them.
Yeah, I don't think you can find truly a bad spot. I'm not a fan of sitting on the front stretch because you just don't see the turns. I think on road courses you want to see them in turns. I've typically sat down in the south end, kind of the southwest vista, if you know where that area is, kind of turn 1 coming out of turn 1 on the oval course. But this year I'm thinking about going down to turn 4, Pat, kind of your neck of the woods and sitting down there because I'm wondering if I could see everything of kind of that action as they come down the front stretch and then maybe down Holman Boulevard. So I think I'm going to switch it up a little bit this year.
Both of them, the south is cool because you do see them coming through the S curves and the big turns and everything. And then on the north end, you do see them diving into that first turn and you still see them going through the S's all the way down Holman. So you do see some good racing in both of those sections too. I agree.
Yeah. Keith, we're going to miss you this weekend, but we know you're celebrating a big birthday, right? Not yours, but Mama's, right?
Mama's birthday this weekend. We're having a big get together, and actually, like extended family and everyone, we're going for a weekend of camping. There's like 36 to 40 of us camping, and then there's probably another 25 or 30 joining us on Saturday of the actual official party. And you'll love this, Pat. On Friday, we're very much a Irish favorable family. So we always have a big St. Patrick's Day party. It's one of my mom's favorite things. And so on Friday night, we're going with a St. Patrick's Day theme. So
love that.
We're going to celebrate 2025 St. Patrick's Day Part 2. So we're going to have ourselves a great time. And celebrate one heck of a lady.
Heck yeah.
Happy birthday to Sim.
I think Pops and I are going to the race. He doesn't have to work the track that day. So he scored me a ticket, I think. I'm going to go head over there. Trying to get the wife and the kids to go. It is nice, so she might want to go. She likes to go out there, likes to be in the sun. So short race for the kids. So we'll see. Fingers crossed, but I'll be there.
I'll be there with the 14-year-old. She's excited. She'll have her Dixon jersey on and cheering him on like she always does. So
awesome.
We'll be ready.
So if you had to put money on let's try like a trifecta box. Any order, doesn't matter what they come in. What 3 people are most likely to end up on that podium? I'm talking horse racing because I just went to Churchill Downs last week. So
did you? Right.
I went on I went on 5-0 Tuesday, which is the Tuesday prior to the Derby. So
Pat, you go first. There you go.
Lundgaard, Pillow, Scotty Mack.
Ooh,
I mean, you gave it to me
look at you
first.
going with the favorites. Look at you going with the
Gave it to
favorites.
me first.
I can choose some of those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're writing these down, right?
Yeah.
We're going to come back and see how we did.
Okay. You got to take Pillow. He's a 2-time defending champion. So I'll take Pillow. I got to throw a wild card in here. I'm going to go with Rinus because I think Rinus is going to do a little stretch here. So give me some VeeKay to kind of finish third. Boy, Dixon's been good here. But Colton Herta. I think he breaks out of the pit struggles this week. I'm going to go Pillow, Herta, VeeKay.
Okay.
You got Keith.
All right, it's up to me. I think I got to go with my boy, and I think it's about time for him to do something. I mean, obviously, he finished well at Thermal, another road course. So let's throw Pato in there, just because I don't want to root against him. And then I'm going to go Herta. Let's say that the pit crew is back home again in Indiana, and maybe they're going to be sleeping in their own beds. You know, they're going to be ready to go and figure things out. And then I'm going to go against the grain, and this is more preference than reality. But I'm going to knock Pillow out so we can make this thing a little more interesting. Let's say we go into the Indy 500 with a little more at stake. The Indy 500, kissing the bricks, drinking the milk. You know, that's a big deal. But let's say it's for more than that. We're gaining ground. So Pillow's going to fall out, have some kind of on-track issue, doesn't finish the race.
Okay, all right.
Doesn't finish the race. And who else is going to be on the pole? I'm going to go with Rosenquist. I like him.
Rosie?
I'm going to go with Rosie. And I know that sounds like a far-fetched 3, but, you know, I want to make this thing exciting down the stretch. I want to make it fun. So that's what we're going to go with. Since you didn't make me put money, since we didn't have to put money on it, that's what I'm going with.
No willpower or Scott Dixon in any of our picks. I'm surprised there.
I'm going to be yelling shit pit all day long to Herta. I'm actually going to make sure I get on pit road. I'm going to go Friday and just make sure he hears me. Just shit pit.
I was considering willpower and Scott Dixon, but then Pat told me the race started at 4:30, and I was like, man, that's usually that's like Bluebird special dinner time for them, and bed by 7.
Yeah, they're probably
might be a stretch, man. The lines are going to get blurry, their eyes are going to get thin, and I don't think they'll be able to pull it out.
Beef Manhattan special, MCL. Yep.
Oh, nice.
So good.
All right.
Well, Keith's Keith's a little under the weather, you can hear. So, Keith, thanks for moderating this one as usual. We appreciate you being a dog, hanging in there for us.
Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, episode 18. Who would have thought? Who would have thunk it? Right here we are. We had this crazy idea. Hey, let's just get together and talk about racing. Let's record it. Let's throw it on the internet. And I've texted these guys several times. It's just a lot of fun. You know, my wife doesn't have to have an excuse to go out to eat with her friends or to call them on a random Tuesday.
Right.
But bro's got to have something to bro out about. So we get together and bro out about IndyCar, and we get to share it with you. So
I love it.
Keep tuning in.
Yep. Appreciate it, everybody.
Shout out to another Franklin College alum, Dan Maple, Speedway High School athletic director. You're listening out there, Dan.
That's right.
Chime in and let us know what you think of our power rankings, Dan. We'd love to hear about it.
It's a good idea. I'm supposed to go to his house this week to look at his landscaping. So shout out for calling Kelly Landscaping, Maple. I appreciate that.
Hey, the sponsorship's paying off, Pat.
That's right. Right. Here we go. I'm going to put a big old sign in his yard so everybody knows when they run by the track. So, okay.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
We'll catch you next time for episode 19. Peace out.
Thank you.